Alright guys, TouchCrop here back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday so far. Today I wanted to talk about the Florida Mutineers. A rumour has surfaced that Maux has been benched off this team. Who could he have been benched for? Is this the correct move given their very poor weekend of their own Florida home series, going 0-6 map count when they last played last weekend to the Minnesota Rocket and the New York Subliners? Intrigued to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. What could be their move going forwards and how does it impact other teams in the league? Like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Very quickly closing in on 19,000 subscribers. And first of all, let's talk about these potential new weapons being added into Modern Warfare's arsenal. The Vector and the Galil have been talked about here. Apparently there's 5 new weapons coming. These two we have seen before. Galil was one of my favourite weapons back in the Black Ops 1 days, probably slightly behind the Commando Silence, but Galil was right up there. And Vector is widely considered one of the, if not the, best gun in Call of Duty history back in the Ghost days. Infinity Ward made that game as well, so potentially it could be a very powerful one if they do add it into this game. Indeed, and potentially it could be used in competitive play. Then again, the MP5 is very, very solid indeed, so who knows whether the Vector could be a more close range alternative to the MP5, as Easy Mac is talking about here, but I don't think it is overwhelmingly likely, but I thought it would bring it to your guys' attention as well, because a meta discussion like this is pretty pertinent when we consider Maux and the Florida Mutineers situation right now. So let's look at this tweet from Maux that comes out with yesterday. The worst feeling in the world is realizing the miles that you went for people, that they would not go inches for you, and yes, I'm feeling this right now. I'm super hurt. So, okay, Maux is suggesting, implying that he might have been dropped off the team, or at least that's how a lot of people are interpreting this, and for good reason, because you look at Intel Call of Duty's tweet right here, you see what Maux has liked in terms of like what his likes are. This tweet from United Ant, AO Ward, you went out of your comfort zone for the sake of the team and they ran us up and dropped you, question mark, he likes this tweet, implying that there is some truth behind it, right? Now, this is a change that we've talked about for a long time on the channel, how I thought that a long time ago, when Pristini benched himself from the team for mental health difficulties, as he talked about at the time, and yeah, they made the roster change, brought Ferro into the squad, and Maux was on a sub, and how they had that decent result early on. They made the grand finals against FaZe at, I think, the Atlanta home series. After that whole thing concluded, I did still feel that when Pristini felt like he was ready to come back into the starting lineup, as he's said it on Twitter that he's been ready for a couple of months to come back into the team if he wants to, the team didn't decide to get him back, and for whatever reason they might have decided that, but I thought at the time that, look, Maux on the SMG, even though he's only using the SMG in the the search and destroys at times and the hard points mainly, the domination he actually does use an AR quite a lot, and Skies goes on to the MP5, but all of that considered, Maux just isn't the best SMG, right? And it felt like, as United Ant says here, as Anthony says, like, look, he went onto the sub, he was clearly out of his comfort zone, and it did show in terms of statistical performances, in my opinion. Sometimes Maux would just completely go missing, right? And this weekend, he had some pretty shocking series, to be honest, against the teams that they did play against. But then again, they've done very well. They did win the Dallas home series earlier on in the season, so I kind of felt like the words that I said earlier about how I thought that the move would probably be to bench Maux and bring Pristini back, well, it's like I kind of had to mince my words a little bit because Florida had shown that they could do it with Maux in the lineup. However, since then, it's been a pretty downhill trajectory, right? They go to their own home series and get absolutely smoked. So, okay, if they're bringing Maux to the bench, what does that mean for the players on the team? Because Ferro was brought in off, well, he was not on a team at all for the Challenger side, effectively, and Pristini still, right now, supposedly, on the Florida Mutineers, or at least we haven't heard anything to the contrary. Then again, we've heard it very highly rumoured that Chicago have indeed bought Pristini out of his Florida Mutineers contract, therefore he's no longer over there. And then we have this whole situation of pending league approval. What does that mean? Just wanted to mention really quick regarding General, because we saw again at Chicago streaming scrims last night. General was playing with them, and now it's getting to the point where it's very, very close indeed to Chicago going to the Seattle home series next weekend. It would seem very bad, in my opinion, to General if they decided to, finally the league has approved this Pristini change or whatever, let's say it is indeed going ahead, because as I say, we've got no confirmation from official sources, but yeah, let's say it is going ahead. There's 5 days to the event. Does General just get booted out of the team and they play with Pristini? I think that would be a bit of a kick in the teeth to General after all the work he's done with the team, playing out of his comfort zone in this SMG role. And they seem to be pretty good with General in the team and Gunless not. The vibes seem to be better. I don't know. I've been enjoying watching them play the chances that I've had. Then again, General tweets this out yesterday. could just be bait, but he does this gif kind of implying how maybe his time in the team is over, right? You could argue, then again, we'll have to see how things go tonight. In my opinion, they probably will go forward with General into this weekend unless something changes and Pristini comes in very, very soon indeed. So let's think of the options, right, for the Florida Mutineers if they're going to get rid of Maux. Now, I think this probably is going to be the move. I just don't think that they're going to be able to bounce back from this 0-6 map count performance and right ahead go to winning championships once again as they did at the Dallas home series. To me, it seems like a change should be required. I think if there is a change you're going to make, it's probably Maux, clearly out of his comfort zone on that SMG. Obviously, as he says, he's done his best for the team, which is fair enough. They've won an event with him on that role, but it just never felt to me like it was going to be the all-encompassing solution for the squad, especially with other teams that do have better role dynamics, let's put it that way. And a lot of teams right now are working to reduce their role issues that they have. So this came out from Rush FPS here on the Reddit yesterday. Awakening will be replacing him, wait for it. Crone says he followed 3 of them recently and they followed back, sound the alarms. And so just to look really quick at what Florida's series has, or what Florida's season has been so far. So, we have down here the opening weekends. They've had some pretty up and down performances, but of course early on at this Atlanta home series, they make the grand finals, beating the Huntsmen. Then it was a pretty downhill trajectory, but then they bounced back pretty strongly at the home series, the Dallas online home series, losing to Toronto first round, but then running through all of those teams to win the grand final against the Rocker. But then against the very next event, the Florida Mutineers home series, their own home series, they don't win a single map. It was very close maps, but again, if you're not going to win a single map, that's pretty bad, right? And it feels like at this point, probably a change does have to be made to bounce back from something like this, given how clearly teams like Subliners and Ultra and some other squads in the league are making changes and looking to improve quite significantly. So this is what Awakening's performances look like, and it'd be very interesting if they make this change, right? It's pretty rare for teams in the CDL to be picking up players that aren't on other Pro League teams or aren't on their substitution benches already, right? We saw the LAG do it with Vivid and Spart. We've seen Florida do it already with Ferro into the team. Do they feel like Awakening is another player that they could indeed pick up? And he's had some pretty good performances as of late in this Modern Warfare season. These online teams of Glow, Frosty, Willet and Co, Stamino, Gintroid, etc. He was on this WestStar team with Parasite, then all the drama kicked off. Zaptius, still on that team, but Gintroid came in for Parasite. So yeah, Awakening has been right at the top of the amateur scene the last few weeks for sure, like always having good results in these Challengers Cups and the Florida's Open, so Florida own home series. So yeah, it definitely looks like Awakening could be a good option here. Given what Ferro did to the team and given what Mac has done to the New York Subliners, it definitely does feel like that opportunity could be on the table here. And if that is indeed the case, and we have seen regarding, him following some players, then following it back, all of this stuff, that probably implies that Pristini is an option, right? Because if Pristini was still an option and he was ready to go, you would imagine he would just be back in the starting lineup, no problem at all. That is the move that I talked about a number of times that I thought would be a decent move. But, given that's not immediately the case, and it doesn't seem immediately obvious that, Pristini did a reply to this tweet here. You're going to be alright, kiddo. Don't be hurt over it. Find the positives and grow from it. I know you will. Let me know if you want to talk. Like, not necessarily implying that he's going to be back in this starting lineup right by any means. This is what their player roster looks like. Of course, they brought Ferro in earlier. They've got Atura, their coach, as a substitute here. And then Maniac, of course, which a move that always confused me, right? Like, why the hell is Maniac a substitute on this team? Because he's never going to get any playtime, right? Former Halo Pro, OpTic Gaming, all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, would be interesting if Maux does move to the bench and Awakening comes into the squad, because we imagine Pristini is going elsewhere. Then again, people have talked about Gunless, potentially Pristini for Gunless trade. To my knowledge, to my understanding, this is a buyout from the Chicago Huntsman team for the, player Pristini onto that potential team. It looks like the Gunless is not going to be going anywhere. To be honest, if I'm a Huntsman fan, that's exactly what I want to hear. Right? Like, I don't want a motivated Gunless going to some other team and making them better right in time for the end of the season, right? Because that's something that could very easily happen. That's something which I'd be kind of concerned about if I was Florida Mutineers, getting rid of Pristini, right, a current world champion, go on to another team and improve them. I'd be somewhat concerned about that, and I think that's why a lot of teams are finding it very difficult to make changes, because they can just hold on to these players if, the buyouts are such and the contracts are written in that certain way, to the point where they don't really
really want to get rid of their players unless it's going to be to huge financial benefit. So I imagine Huntsman have probably had to pay a hefty price for Pristini for him to go onto this team to make it worthwhile to the Florida Mutineers to say, look, we're making a good profit off this, and also we can get Awakening in instead and hopefully make that an even better team. So we'll have to see how this goes going forwards, but it does look like to me Gunners will probably be staying on the Huntsman bench. I don't really think he's going anywhere. Rumours of him going to OpTic Gaming potentially, but Pac-Man said in the podcast that he actually thinks that's really unlikely, even though people were saying he did like a Freudian slip early on in the video or something. But yeah, I can discuss that another day if you guys are interested. Couple of things just to mention before we finish here. College CoD League finished off last night. TAMU, I guess is Texas Agricultural and Mechanical University or something like that, crowned the champions. This is really cool to watch, actually. I got to catch some of it. So we're all the way to the grand finals. Great to see College CoD become what it has done today. Really kicking off. A lot of viewers. Next season should be even hotter than this one, to be honest. And just before we finish, just wanted to share this spreadsheet that I saw put together by Putrid Orange here on the Reddit. This is really, really cool. If you guys are looking to find series so far this season, I'll leave this linked down below. But effectively, this spreadsheet, what it does, every single map that has been played this entire season is in this spreadsheet. So it tells you what map in particular it was played on, what the score was between what two teams, what date it was played on. You can filter by different teams if you would like, and you can filter by different home series and all that kind of stuff. And then you can click on the link and it'll take you to the VOD of that match just before it starts, just before the map starts. So yeah, if you guys are looking to look back on any series or anything like that through the course of the season, Putrid Orange has done a fantastic job putting all this stuff together. So I'll leave that link down below for you guys if you'd like to check it out. So if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Intrigued to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Is Maux leaving the team a potentially good change for the Florida Mutineers? Is Awakening actually a good option here? And what the hell's going on with Pristini? Why isn't he being confirmed onto the Huntsman? Yeah, and would he even play in the Seattle home series if it does get confirmed very soon? Could be a kick in the teeth to generally, in my opinion. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.
Wow.
I need help, guys.
Danger front door.
I didn't even know you can fucking do that.
Tell me. Tell me. You're more front now. Oh my god. I'm in the back. I need help.
Simp crossing dead.
One in the head glitch.
They're all crossing.
You're dead. More in the back. I need help with Uses. Guys.
He's hurt.
I'm dead.
And they're
Behind me, river. Uses dead. More hotel on me. Hotel. Simp dead. I need help. Hotel again.
I got through.
One hotel. Top my rails.